Hello and welcome back to another edition of the sewing workshop, and today we're going to do another version of a zip. So this is again an open zip with metal teeth and a metal little toggle here, and it would be ideal in a neckline. We have got a very clean finish at the top here, and this would be the lining of your dress. So this, although it's not the easiest way of putting one of these zips in, it certainly is one of the nicest looking one. For the visible zip, what you want to do is you want to have one piece for your lining and one piece for your shell fabric. And I've marked here with tailor's chalk where the center back is on my lining and where the center back is on my shell fabric. And you'll also need 2 bits of valene, that's iron-on interfacing. It's got a knobbly side. That knobbly side needs to be facing down and needs to be ironed over the underside of your fabric, the wrong side of your fabric. Right, this is the outside. We're doing the inside here. That's where it's going to go. When you iron your valene on, what you want to do is make sure that you have no steam, and then you leave it on there and you can count to the count of 8. And the key is that if you can still peel it off like I can here, then it's not good enough. You just have to go again. This zip I've chosen is like really cool because it's got this little dongle down there, so it's nice metal zip, but this part here is way too long and my seam allowance tends to be 1 centimeter. So what I'm doing is just trimming it off the top here. Okay, so it's not quite so long, and I can now see where it goes to. I want it to stop here. Okay, so now I can actually cut. So don't be scared, you've got it all interfaced, nothing's going to happen to it. But now, watch this. What we're going to do is we're going to cut into the corner a little bit here, like that and like that. And if you wanted to, you could measure this all out, but I tend to not measure that. I'm just going to draw it so you can see roughly. It's probably, what's what, 3 or 4 millimeters, isn't it, or 5. So I'm going to cut in here now, evenly. And even if it's not that even, it'll still work, trust me. Right, so now this zip is going to go underneath it like this, right? And we're going to have this in like that. But because we're going to put a lining in, we want it to be really neat. So watch this, I'm going to fold this over now, put for this. So I'm opening up my zip and I'm putting this underneath it, and then I'm finding the pins and I'm going to pin it on. But you can see the distance here, right? You don't want to be so far over, so I'm going to pin it so I'm almost next to the teeth here. It takes a bit of practice, I suppose, but because you've got the valene on there, nothing really can go wrong, she says. Okay, so we're going to sew that one in. So here we've got the zipper foot. You definitely need that one. When you look at this, you can see that the needle would be hitting here, and you don't want that. You want the needle to hit there. So what I need to do is move my needle position over so that it sits right on the edge. I've set over my needle as far as it would go over. And you can see it now, it's way over to the side. Right, so you want to secure your stitches, and then what we're going to do is we're kind of using really the teeth as the guide. You will see that you can't really get any closer than that. Take it out, and now we've got this right to there. We've got this in, so fold it back, close your zip, put this on. Look how lovely that already looks. First thing I'm going to do is to sew across here. So I've got my thing in, and then I come back the other end. Now I'm just going to sew over. I've got a metal zip here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move by hand, because look, I'm going to hit my metal. And if you've got a metal zip there, like a really nice one, you're going to break your needle. So do this by hand. That's the only thing that's not so brilliant about using a metal zip, is that it will break your needle, and you do have to be quite careful here. And I go forward again, and I've done my little triangle here across there. So I fold that back. You can see that's in really neatly now, right? We're going to only go to half of our zip. Now I've got it in, I can do the other side. So now I'm going to go backwards and forwards here and just go the same way back up. Really close to the teeth. So now I've done the outside, I'm going to do the inside as well. So to make sure that I've got it on the same level here, I'm going to mark it so that I now not cut wrong, and that's obviously from here to there, right? So we're doing exactly the same again. I've cut this now, and we're going to put this lining over the top so this is all really enclosed. I'm going to put this on here. So I'm going to sew down this one side here, and then where I've cut it down there, obviously I'll go right to that little tip, and that's where I'm going to go backwards and forwards. There we go. Right, next step. Now we've got one side in, we do exactly what we did on the top here, and we're going to just fold back that little tip here. So my little bit here ended up to be shorter than that bit, so I can't actually sew it in because otherwise it's going to go wrong. But because we're going to sew this in from the outside as well, it doesn't matter, it's going to be caught anyway. We're going to pin this too again as well all the way up, and then we're going to sew this. They just don't work with me so well. And then I go all the way up and all the way up. I can fold this back and I've got it really neatly inserted. I'm going to give this a quick press here, lots of steam, and I also iron it from the outside. Make sure that it's really nice and neat. I've finished off this side here, and you can see that's actually really neat. So if you have a dress where you don't want any top stitching on this and you want it to look like this, then this is the method to do it. All we have to do here is take this and basically stitch across it, all the way across it. That's all you need to do, and that will hold it in place nicely. And the one thing that you need to know about any zip that you put in like this at the top, whether it's concealed or anywhere else, you need to come a little bit lower, otherwise you get this nose that peaks up. So this is actually sewn a little bit lower, and by the time you've got all this fabric there, it pushes it up a bit, and then it sits in just the right position. And then with a centimetre seam allowance, you go all the way around, and then as you come to the front, look, you just go a bit lower. It's really important. I'll see why in a minute. Just cut across my corner, turn it, zip up, voila.